Congratulations, we have made it through the year of 2024. There have been some really bad movies, but we're not here to talk about those today. We're here to talk about the best movies of 2024, at least the best ones to me. Before I give my top 10, I want to know, what is your top 10? What's your top 5, or what do you think is the best movie hands down of this year 2024? And as always, I want to give some honorable mentions, movies that I found to be quite amazing, but it just didn't hit my top 10 though. Transformers 1, Cabrini, Civil War, Inside Out 2, Anora, A Real Pain, Furiosa. Yeah, that just shows you how stacked this year was when it comes to quality. I even had Furiosa outside of my top 10, and I love that movie. But here we go, starting with number 10 is The Substance.
Younger, more beautiful, more perfect.
This is a wild film that holds nothing back. Also get quite possibly one of the weirdest, if not best, performance from Dennis Quaid involving shrimp. It's amazing stuff. On the surface, it's a body horror film, but at its core, it tackles the toxic beauty standards of Hollywood in the most disturbing way. And what more needs to be said about Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley, who are impeccable in their roles. The idea of reclaiming youth sounds enticing until you realize what this character has to go through. The direction in this film makes every twist hit hard, leaving you disturbed but oddly captivated. It's visceral, unsettling, and unforgettable. Number 9, Alien Romulus. The moment I heard Fede Alvarez was going to direct this project, I knew I was in for a treat. It has everything you'd want: relentless pacing, intense action, and characters you genuinely care about, and the xenomorphs. That's really why you want to go see an Alien movie. But the sibling dynamic between Rain and Andy is the emotional backbone, with David Johnson absolutely nailing his role as a robot with surprising depth. Nostalgia callbacks to the original franchise doesn't just feel like a cash grab, it actually weaves into the plot very naturally. Romulus is terrifying, thrilling, and proves that there's still life and terror in the Alien franchise. Number 8, We Live in Time.
That I am about to fall in love with you.
This movie broke me, guys. Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh, this to me is my favorite performance from both of them. Andrew Garfield has done a lot to showcase his talent, but there is just such a humanity. There is just this raw aspect of love in a way that I've never seen before in a film in the last couple of years. La La Land is still my favorite romantic film of all time, but this is definitely going down in my top 5. And the reason why is the approach to the story. Typically, when you want to connect with characters, you want to see the beginning, middle, and end. This movie, this director said, no, I'm going to do a non-linear approach. And what we get is a special film that highlights big moments or small intimate moments that bring you into the reality of these two characters. And I just found it to be quite an enjoyable journey. Number 7, Gladiator II. Say what you will, but I had a blast with Gladiator II. Does it copy some story beats from the first film? Yeah, but this is a worthy return to Rome, filmed with epic scale, gripping battles, and powerhouse performances. Speaking of that, Paul Mescal is great in this film, and yes, he's not Maximus. I see people trying to compare his performance to Russell Crowe. That performance is legendary. Paul Mescal, I get, has a lot to fill in those shoes, but he's not Maximus. He's Lucius. He's a man burdened with rage, and Paul eats up every scene. Then there's Denzel Washington, who just pretty much steals the entire film from the first scene that he has. It's not just a sequel, it's a journey into its own story, and it's glorious. Number 6, The Wild Robot.
We must become more than we were programmed to be.
Hands down the most beautifully animated film of 2024. The world of The Wild Robot practically leaps off the screen, and Roz and Bright Bill's relationship is the heart of it all. Their bond hits deeply, especially when you come to realize that this whole movie is talking about the aspect of motherhood. Director Chris Sanders creates a story that is so well utilized for the whole entire family, from kids to adults. But the thing that I found most remarkable looking back at this film is the reality of how kids will watch this movie and feel one way, and when they get older, when they become adults and start to realize time is slipping away, they will look at this film in a completely new light. And I love when movies can do that. It's for seasons in life. So for me, this is going to hit way differently compared to somebody else. Top 5, here we go. Number 5. Wicked. And yes, I have been listening to Defying Gravity probably every other day by now. My wife is getting really annoyed. Walking out of this film felt like stepping out of Harry Potter, completely immersed in a magical, whimsical world. To share some highlights briefly about this film, the reason why it's in my top 5 is without a doubt the main thing, the performances from Cynthia Erivo playing Elphaba, bringing both vulnerability and power to the misunderstood Wicked Witch of the West, and Ariana Grande as Glinda. She's comedic gold and deserves the Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actress. I had no idea that she could not only sing like an opera singer, pull off a performance like this genuinely surprised me. The songs are infectious and the world building is breathtaking. Number 4, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Stop it.
I know that there's some people that do not like this film. Yes, there are some that don't, but there's a lot more that do, and I am one of those people. And how can you not fall in love with the opening of this film? The use of NSYNC and Deadpool in a dance sequence where he's also killing a bunch of TVA agents in a dance number. What more could you want, people? I don't know what else that Sean Levy could give you, but we got that. Here's the reason why this movie worked. The brotherhood, the real aspect of friendship between Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. Not only did they have a quick banter in real life on Twitter for years and years, and basically Ryan Reynolds has been wanting to do this forever, you feel that in their performances, where every scene they have, they are not going to let up. It's like watching two best friends have the time of their lives. Sure, the plot isn't groundbreaking and the villain is kind of forgettable, but this movie is all about the experience. It's the kind of fun that you want to have when you are going to the movies, and this movie reminds me why I do love the Marvel Cinematic Universe and why I love Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. Number 3, Sing Sing. Please watch this movie. I don't know if it's available as of now to still stream or buy it on iTunes or Vudu, but for the longest time, it has not been available. And if it's in your local theater, I implore you to support this movie. I actually had the honor and privilege to interview some of the actors from the film and actors who actually played themselves in a story that is filled with beauty. It tells the story of a man wrongly imprisoned who finds community and redemption through theater. The performances are raw and heartfelt, especially Clarence Macklin, who actually plays himself, and he deserves the Best Supporting Actor win. Watching these men tell their own stories, reliving painful moments to bring hope to others is incredibly moving. And obviously Coleman Domingo shines in this as Divine G. He doesn't let up in every single scene, and he plays a character that is so just filled with hope for other people that he kind of forgets to help himself. It's a powerful story of hope, humanity, and second chances. If this is playing near you, do yourself a favor and please watch it. Number 2, Nosferatu. I expected this movie to be quite good. I didn't expect it to be my favorite Robert Eggers film, but the more you realize that went behind the scenes for this film, this has been something that Robert has been wanting to do for such a long time. All the work that he has done since The Witch to here is kind of what brought him to this moment. And it makes sense when you realize this has been something he's been wanting to do forever. And when you watch it, you'll realize this is his magnum opus. This is his masterpiece. It's a dark, haunting tale of pure evil with phenomenal performances from Lily Rose Depp delivering quite possibly the best physically demanding role of the year. And while you have Bill Skarsgård as Nosferatu, who's nightmare fuel. His voice alone feels unholy, and somehow the mustache adds to the character. This isn't just a horror movie, it's a work of art that'll leave you haunted long after the credits roll. And number 1, Dune Part 2. There's really nothing that I could say that could amount to the sheer quality of this film. There is not enough praise to give Denis Villeneuve for what he was able to bring on the silver screen. It is one of the most rewatchable films for me. There has been no experience from the opening sequence to Fade Rotha's gladiatorial battle sequence in black and white to the epic third act with Javier Bardem riding worms, fighting into battle. What else could you want? And also Hans Zimmer's score, which deserves an Oscar nomination. How could you? And of course, you have the amazing Timothée Chalamet as Paul Atreides and Zendaya as the beautiful Chani. This is sci-fi at its absolute peak. Bold, beautiful, and unforgettable. Easily one of the best films of the last decade. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this video. That was my top 10 best movies of 2024. And where there's the best, there's also the worst.